12 years ago, Salome decided to venture into tree farming after a failed attempt at growing cash crops, a decision which 10 years later finally started paying off.
Before I planted these trees, I was planting maize, bananas, and Afia grass. But the market was not good. Then I heard from the news that there is a tree from South Africa. And if somebody can plant those trees from the South Africa, those trees can bring a lot of money. Then I decided to uproot Navia grass, bananas, maize, to plant trees.
To increase the uptake of tree farming, just like other crops, researchers are hard at work to improve tree varieties so they can grow faster and in return provide quicker returns to farmers.
Like in agriculture, farmers are used to genetic improvement. But in forestry, there has not been much value in terms of genetic improvement. It is now that farmers have seen the difference between performance of the varieties that are improved and the varieties they used to plant in the earlier years. And that's why now they have been encouraged to come forward and procure material that they believe will meet their expectations.
Demand for wood and wood products continues to grow while supply remains limited. Commercializing tree farming is, however, helping bridge this gap.
There has been a major improvement compared to plantation forestry, which is undertaken by most of the wood-based industries. Currently, farmers are engaged in farm forestry, where we train them on which species to grow, at which altitude, under which amount of rainfall per year, and when to harvest. And we are moving forward, not only focusing on trees, but we have entered into the production, the planting and cultivation of bamboo as a research or a construction material.
Well, it's encouraging. We have seen farmers come and buy seedlings for their own planting. So it's quite encouraging. The last 10 years or so, we have approximately 16,000 growers now in Kenya who are growing trees commercially.
Large-scale farming will edge the country closer to achieving a 10% increase in forest cover from the current 1.2%. To drive this, providing incentives to farmers from planting through to improving market access and proper legislation will be major milestones.
There needs to be a change in some of the legislation in our Forestry Act, which allows more private sector participants to come into the forestry space, particularly to address the needs of, again, another aspect of energy, which is charcoal and which is cooking fuel, rather than deplete our forests illegally, which the government is unable to stop. We must have policies in place which allow social forestry or farm forestry at smallholding level, which supplies the need of the charcoal production.
I think the biggest barrier has been lack of sufficient incentives, both in terms of policy and legal. The current and past forest policies and laws have actually been geared towards conservation. And there has not been a lot of emphasis on private commercial growers. There has been in the past a very successful public commercial forestry plantation program, but that fell into decline in the 70s and 80s. And in 1997, there was actually a stoppage of logging from government forests because the stocks were getting low and the management was not as good as it used to be. Now, out of that, we have had now an increase in commercial growers to try to fill the void.
For farmers like Salome, trees may take time to mature, but they're eventually more profitable and require less attention. On a larger scale, growing trees has the potential to contribute to the country's GDP through forex earnings from exports and job creation.